Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So today is Diddy trial day number 5. Now to recap what happened in trial day number 4, Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, and the prosecution's star witness was back on the stand. Now her testimony continued to be gut-wrenching, raw, and deeply emotional. She described how she lived in constant fear during her relationship with Diddy, even saying that it felt like she was a prisoner. According to Cassie, Diddy demanded control over almost every aspect of her life, from who she talked to how she dressed, to what type of music she made. Now, Cassie brought up bouts of jealousy when she would see Diddy with Kim Porter or even with Gina. She said she was starting to feel like the side chick. She brought up her relationship with Michael B. Jordan and said that there was pretty much cheating on both ends. They were both toxic, but Diddy would take it to another level and would just be explosive. Now, there was a moment that hit everyone in the courtroom when Cassie described how she allegedly was instructed to smile in public even after being physically abused. Now, she said Diddy would manipulate her by gifting her things after violent episodes, creating a twisted cycle of abuse, apology, and control. She hinted that his wealth, fame, and influence helped protect him for years. Now, it took a while, but at times, Cassie was able to let her guard down during cross-examination and speak about her and Diddy's shared drug use. Now, Cassie often had trouble remembering what she previously told the prosecution back in 2024, which may very well be the result of confused memories from years of drug use. However, Diddy's legal team is using this to their advantage, and they're attempting to portray Diddy not as an abuser, but as someone struggling with addiction, suggesting that his violent outbursts towards Cassie were linked to the drug withdrawal episodes. Most importantly, there's the infamous 2016 Intercontinental Hotel video, which is a key piece of evidence that continues to loom over this case. Now, today, court will resume with the continuation of Cassie's cross-examination, followed by redirect from the prosecution. Now, Cassie, who is currently 8.5 months pregnant, was promised that this will be her final day on the stand. Let's see if it happens that way. We are going to get into this case, day number 5, and so much more. But before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. So early this morning, the government sent a formal request to the judge asking for a strict time limit on the defense's ongoing cross-examination of Cassie Ventura due to the concerns over delays, inefficiency, and her advanced pregnancy. Now the government is requesting Cassie's cross-examination in by 4:30 p.m. today, and they're requesting for the judge to use his authority to stop the defense from extending cross-examination into next week, and the court protect Cassie from what they argue is unnecessary, repetitive, and potentially harassing questions, especially because she's over 8 months pregnant. So Sean Combs is in the courtroom this morning as lawyers on both sides discuss the timing for the rest of Cassandra Ventura's cross-examination and potential evidence with the judge. Judge Subramanian says the government has said that the defense cross-examination can go until 4:30 p.m. today, and they'll limit themselves to 30 minutes for the redirect. Combs' attorney Anna Marie Estavo says, "We have evidentiary issues. The judge says, tell me about them. Should have been in writing. I'm telling you right now, this judge does not play with wasting time and disorganization." Estavo says, "We don't understand why they are taking time objecting to our exhibits." The prosecution Johnson says they are proposing to use a video of Mr. Combs walking in nature talking about God. It is improper, inviting jury nullification. The judge says, let's hear it. So let me give you some context. Now, prosecutors raised concerns about a video from the defense that showed Combs walking through nature and said they worried that it could be used to seek sympathy from the jury. The defense said Combs sent the video of him hiking to Ventura from rehab a month after the Intercontinental Hotel attack back in 2016. So after the judge says, let's hear it, it begins to play. Combs is speaking about God. Estavo says this was about him being in rehab, which Miss Ventura didn't remember, so we want to refresh her recollection with this. Prosecutor Johnson says it cannot be played for her in front of the jury. Estavo says, we have headphones. So after some back and forth, the defense assured the judge that they would not try to submit it as evidence. They only plan to show Ventura the video with the headphones so the jury can't hear. If she says she does not remember Combs going to rehab, then this is the proof. So in walks Cassie wearing a wide-shouldered striped suit jacket, an oversized button-down shirt similar to her outfit yesterday. She took a breath as she took her seat in the witness stand and appeared ready to get things going again. So the defense attorney Ana Estavo has picked up exactly where she left off on Thursday, discussing Sean Combs' state of mind around the 2016 Intercontinental Hotel incident, where he was caught on surveillance video assaulting Cassandra Ventura in the hallway. Defense says, "You believe Mr. Combs was blacked out for the Intercontinental event. I believe he was intoxicated. Everyone's definition is different. But you said blacked out. What did you write here? When you get effed up the wrong way. You meant drugs? Yes, and alcohol. Here Mr. Combs writes to you, I am so horny for you. She responded, you are? Why? What made you feel that way? On the stand, Ventura agreed with the defense lawyer that it was a little strange considering what had happened. Defense says, here Mr. Combs is asking you for sex soon after the Intercontinental, right? Ventura says, I was saying who he felt. What did you write back? I wrote, we need a different vibe than last Friday at the Intercontinental. Mr. Combs wrote, F-U-C-K, Friday. I don't even want to do that again. What did you write? I wrote, laugh out loud, true. Mr. Combs suspected you of having an affair with someone else in the industry. What happened when he took your phone? Cassandra Ventura testified that Sean Combs snatched her phone out of her hand while they were in a car together August 2016, and he ran down Wilshire Boulevard, Los Angeles with it. Now, he had suspected that she was dating a professional football player while the couple were on break. He even called the man. He ran off with the phone for hours. When Cassie returned home without her phone, her mother called the police. The defense is cataloging incidents of extreme jealousy by Combs. Estavo says the person you were having an affair with, an NFL player, I don't know if he's playing anymore, but he was an NFL player and he was jealous. Wasn't there a time he found out that you were dancing with someone in the entertainment industry and took your phone, right? I don't remember. It was Chris Brown. I was not dancing with him. Look at this. It's from 2013. Oh, now I see. What else did Mr. Combs take? My car, my passport, when he was angry. Let's refresh you about Mr. Combs being in rehab. I vaguely remember that. Why did you go to Sedona? I went to Arizona to get away from the drugs. I'm going to go to a new topic. Mr. Combs told you to get a video you'd heard about. What did you write? I wrote, you keep putting me down. Okay, so I'm going to play you some audio. Ventura's in the audio saying, if you saw a video of someone effing me, who was effing me? You have it. Why didn't you show me? Because I'm not disrespectful, bro. If you don't show me, I will unalive you. Cut you up.
What the?
The audio continues. I will effing unalive you. I've never unalived anyone in my life, and I'm going to F you up. It's not going to be blood on my hands. Someone else is going to do it. I'm not playing with you. Tell me, Sujit. On the stand, Ventura reacted with shock and maybe some amusement at her own aggression on the recording. The defense seemed to be establishing that both she and Combs were united in their efforts to keep sexual videos of Ventura private, in contrast to Ventura's testimony that Combs used the potential release of the sex tape as blackmail. So you remember on a previous video, we spoke about DJ Woo Kid telling a certain someone that he saw a video of Cassie getting screwed on video. So this audio was Cassie speaking to that man. So Estavo says, that was you, right? Yes. Did Mr. Combs express concern about these videos being released? When? Ever? Yes. The escort Jonathan, you thought he took the video? Yes. And Mr. Combs spent a lot of money to make sure the video did not get released? I don't know. You had a conversation with Jonathan Adi that was transcribed. I'm not sure. He was volatile. I didn't trust him. Now, a lot of you may know who Jonathan Adi is, but in case you don't, he's given interviews where he's made some various claims. Information about those interviews first surfaced publicly in 2018. However, the event that he was alleging happened in 2014. He stated he was called to Cassie and Diddy's hotel room to dance for them. He said he came dressed up as a police officer. He stripped down. He said he was then offered more money to have sex with Cassie. According to him, things went crazy. Cassie blacked out. Now, he said that he was with them them several times, but one particular time he decided to film with some kind of spy camera because in the event that Cassie did not wake back up, he wanted to ensure that he was not responsible for her death. Now, this video is roughly 5 minutes long. Some of you may have already heard it, but for the ones that haven't, this was released many years before any information had ever come out about Diddy and Cassie hiring sex workers. This is the testimony of Jonathan Oddie. Take a listen.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave.
I felt bad because I got along well with her, and I think she's a decent person. And unfortunately, I had a suspicion that she was in a situation that she was in, but I wasn't sure. And now I understand what was going on in her life and what was happening. And him beating her up in the hotel shows me the type of individual he is, and confirms that everything that happened to me was true and correct and in line with his personality. I was a male Chippendale, a model Chippendale, you could say, and they called me for a show they called the agency that I work for to do a show. And then I went and did a show, and things led to them offering me more money to perform sexual acts, and that's it. That's how I basically got started. I get dressed like a police officer, like a show, and they'll strip down. And then, they offer me some more money. They offer me some more money to do some extra stuff. Candles, sensual atmosphere, lights off. He would sit in a corner in a sofa, watch and masturbate. And he'd say, he'd tell her, give her instructions what to do to me. Perform oral sex, rub baby oil. Then he'd tell me rub baby on her, perform oral sex, and then have sex.
How many times did you have sex with Cassie?
Probably like 15 sessions.
And what did you get paid? How much?
It would be like 800 each time, each act. But sometimes they'll call me twice. I'll leave, and then 3 hours later, they would call me, come back.
Why did you decide to record or video?
Because after she passed out, I decided to record that. So in the event anything worse happened, like if she died, or anybody died, it will be on camera, it will be on video, what happened. So I wouldn't be responsible for any of that.
So you were beginning to worry about her doing drugs. I mean, like about her dying, or him dying, or somebody dying from the drugs, and that you would be held responsible. So you brought a video. You brought your phone?
No, I had a USB video memory stick done like spy shot, and I put it in a wallet on the table, in the living room table of the hotel downstairs. I just filmed it, and it had everything described, and it had her threatening me, but he was telling her what to say. We had an argument. When I left, I knew they were paranoid. So I wanted to guarantee my safety. So I texted him and said, hey, if anything happens to me, I got evidence I've been with you. At the settlement table, there was a lot of irregularities, okay? Mm-hmm. It was my first settlement. So they brought me in, and Diddy had a T-shirt with two men in ski masks pointing, making gun signs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was black and white, and it had a red frame. Okay. But that's the way he operates. He communicates, threatening you, like saying, "I'm gonna have you killed."
According to Mr. Oddie, he was allegedly paid $5 million by Mr. Combs. Estavo says, what did Mr. Combs say when you told him that you thought Mr. Oddie was recording? He said he'd take care of it. Are you aware of an escort leaving comments on Mr. Combs' Instagram page? I am not. Do you currently take Suboxone? Something like it. What does it treat? Opioid addiction. Prosecution says objection. Judge says overruled. You wrote a book in rehab. The place treats sexual compulsion. Objection, says prosecution. Judge says sidebar. Okay, so they're back. Estavo says, did you get neurofeedback therapy? Yes. What is it? They hook something up to your head and show you things just to see how you react. Were you told the effects of it? Help me with my trauma. Did you participate in EMDR? Yes. What does it do? Memories and processing them. The idea is you recall prior traumatic memories, like for PTSD. You were being treated for PTSD? Yes. I was still physically developing. You were 22? Women keep developing after 22, don't you think? But you're not suggesting that you were still physically developing after 22. I am not. This message is about having a freak off without ketamine, right? Prosecutor Johnson says, may I confer with counsel? Judge says no, but we'll take a break. Judge leaves. More coming. So the jury is out, and the judge says witness list by Sunday 5 p.m. But will this and other filings, which are clearly judicial documents, be in the docket? The judge says ask for those long text messages, use binders so we can save them. Judge says now, real break. So in this 10-minute recess, there have been a lot of down moments so far this morning as the defense cross-examining of Cassie Ventura stops and starts while it attempts to decide which text messages to focus on, and the prosecutors object to certain evidence. Now the defense is jumping around the timeline, sometimes pulling up messages and then taking them back down without asking any questions. The judge says we are not going to proceed in this fashion. Okay, so they're back from break, and Estavo says, Mr. Combs wrote, you're so predictable. Now you said that you were going to tell him that you didn't want to do freak-offs anymore, but you didn't say it, did you? I did not. Defense attorney Anna Estavo brought up text messages from April 2010 where Sean P. Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura talk about freak-offs. Now, the conversation had already come up during Ventura's direct examination. She testified earlier this week that she was going to tell Combs she didn't want to have freak-offs anymore, but didn't because she saw how he would react. So this is the text exchange. I want to talk to you about something tomorrow. Going to sleep. Love you. Is it going to stress me out? What is it about? Freak-offs. It can wait. It's not a big deal. Now you don't want to do it anymore. Oh, I already know. You're so predictable. Really? Okay. Since that's definitely what it was, we'll leave it at that then. Since I'm so predictable, have a good night. Whatever, baby. I'm not going to play no games with you, and you ain't going to keep shutting me down. I'm not shutting you down. I never do. If anything, it's always the other way around. I wasn't going to say that I didn't want to do it anymore. Here you suggest freaking off with a girl. Combs messages her back. What makes you want to do that? They did not linger on the exchange. You say you found a photo of Mr. Combs with Gina while you were staying with your parents in Connecticut, right? Yes. You decided to break up with him, and he didn't threaten you but suggested couples counseling? I don't know. So in August 2018, you called it a closure conversation. Mr. Combs was inviting you to Burning Man, right? Yes. So the defense has now raised Cassandra Ventura's testimony about the period in 2018 where Ventura has said that she was dating her now husband, Alex Fine, and seeking closure in her relationship with Sean Combs. Ventura testified that Combs ordered her in her house after the two had a pleasant dinner, in which he had asked her about attending Burning Man together, which they had done before in the past. In a text message around 2018, Combs says, "Can I get a chance to make things right? I haven't taken care of you." She said, "You took care of me materialistically, not where I needed it. I don't need you to be taking care of Kim and Gina. I need you to put me first." Okay, and please read these. I wrote, "You lied to me. She never went away. It was the nail in the coffin." You meant Gina. The photo? Yes. In your civil lawsuit, you say Mr. Combs ordered you in September 2018 after you had dinner at an Italian restaurant in Malibu, right? Yes. Did you meet with the U.S. on November 30th, 2023? Yes, not that exact date. In this meeting, you said the R took place after Mr. Combs returned from Burning Man. You said he was acting strangely at that dinner. I don't remember the exact word. Did you meet the U.S. on April 8, 2025? Around then. Now, the defense is attempting to point out the inconsistencies in Cassandra Ventura's account of her alleged 2018 RAPE by Sean Combs. In her November 2023 civil lawsuit, she said the attack took place in September 2018, which Ventura repeated when she first met with the government agents about 2 weeks after she filed her lawsuit. But the defense offered that Ventura may have changed her story slightly in a prep meeting with the government last month when she said the RAPE occurred in August. Around then, Combs had texted her, "I know I look bad to you. I could tell I didn't turn you on yesterday. I fell off." Now, according to the defense, Ventura wondered if the attack was linked to Combs' bipolar disorder because he had been acting strangely. Nice, but strangely. She confirmed on the stand and did not respond when she told him to stop. The defense had never before mentioned a potential bipolar diagnosis at this trial. The defense continues with her questioning by saying, "This message to FB, who's that?" Frank Black, a name he used. He wrote, "I'm in an investors conference. We'll get back to this. You still have love for him?" "I don't hate him. I have love for the past and what it was." Okay, so they have another sidebar. After that sidebar, the defense says, "You wrote, 'I didn't mean to be a bitch. I just don't get the time.'" He writes, "Just need you to be positive." Correct? Yes. Okay, so DX1309. This is about the yoga instructor. Yup. Ventura text, "I hear you're dating. I didn't know." Combs denied it, saying, "I'm not dating. Dating who? I'm not dating." Ventura responded, "Maybe you've been going on dates all along." She later said, "I actually need to stop even caring." Combs asked her, "Do you want to start dating? If you are, let's just talk about it." At this point, Ventura was already dating her now husband, she testified. Estebo says, "You mentioned not caring, but you did care, right?" "Yes." "What did you write?" "I wrote, 'I do love you. I would just prefer not being one of your girlfriends. Let's get up tomorrow, right? I'll do studio from 6 to 9. He writes, "Can I hold you, or are you just going to break up with me?" And you write back, "We can embrace it, laugh out loud." And you wanted to hug him, right? "That's what I said." "Did you have sexual intercourse with Mr. Combs that night?" "I did." "And during that, your now husband FaceTimed you?" "Yes." "Your now husband didn't know that you were with Mr. Combs at this time, right?" "I don't know what he knew. Later he discovered it." "Objection," says prosecution. "Judge, overruled. You didn't tell your husband that you were RAPED?" "Not that evening." So while Estabo is going through these breakup text messages and everything going on with the RAPE with Cassie, she's letting her know that not once did you bring up the attack to Combs when they discussed the last time they had seen each other, and Ventura agreed that she did not mention it. Ventura said that her now husband, Alex Fine, eventually found out about her having intercourse with her ex as well as the alleged RAPE, and when he found out, he punched the wall. Estebo brings up text messages from October 2018 after the alleged RAPE, and Combs said, "I'm going to fall back," and wanted her to call him when she needed him. Ventura said she wasn't sure how to handle things, and in part, "I'm lost without you." Estabo switches gears and she says, "After Miss Porter's memorial service, you wrote to him that you were going home. Why had he called Kim his soulmate? What was the 11 years about?" "Yes." "That was hurtful?" "At that time, yes." "And after the memorial service, you never saw Mr. Combs again, right?" "I did not." "He let you go, right?" "I never saw him again." "I don't know about letting me go." "You got married to the love of your life, right?" Judge says it's time for lunch break. Come back at 1:10. Okay, so they're back and the judge says, "Let's get this done before the jury returns." Estabo says, "Still think it's appropriate for this message to come in." Prosecutor Johnson says, "We still have issues with phrases like 'I'd like to reconnect.'" Prosecutor Johnson says, "What state of mind is it being offered for?" Judge says, "There are portions that are properly admissible, so this needs to be redacted if it is going to be admitted into evidence. For example, in the 5th paragraph, I've been getting my life together. No." Estebo says, "We can get that in through other exhibits." Judge says, "You can redact it right now." Estebo says, "I will do it right now." Defense says, "I want to say we are going to finish with cross faster than we thought, probably before the next break." Agnifilo says, "May I speak with the government for 1 minute?" Judge says, "Bring the jury back." So Miss Cassandra Ventura walks back in and sits at the witness stand after a lunch break. Now, according to the defense, the cross-examination is almost over. Estabo says, "We're almost finished." Cassie says, "Thank you." Now, Cassandra Ventura testified that even after their final breakup in 2018, he sometimes reached out talk to her. The jury is seeing affectionate, even gushing texts that he sent her over the past 6 years. He congratulated her on her first pregnancy, told her that he had a dream about her. In 2020, he said, "You're one of the greatest women in the world, and don't you ever forget that." Ventura agreed with Combs' lawyer that these were the kind of sentiments that she wanted to hear from him when they were together. She said, "We should talk about closure." Mr. Combs sent a tear face emoji. He said, "You were always my ride or die." I thought it was nice. You've been craving that before. I don't think I'm craving it now. He shaped you over 11 years. Silence. You shaped each other? Yes. Your husband's a physical trainer? Yes. The house you grew up in Connecticut was relatively modest compared to mansions, right? Yes. Now the defense has shifted to the period before Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit in November 2023, accusing Sean Combs of years of abuse. Now Combs' lawyer suggested that the month before the suit was filed, Ventura and her family moved into her parents' home in Connecticut because of financial issues. You were preparing to tour with Matt Testa? Yes, he's an engineer. Once you settled your lawsuit, you canceled your tour, right? Yes. Because you no longer needed the money? No, that wasn't the reason. Cassie claims that the reason why she moved in with her parents is because she wanted to be on the East Coast. Prosecution says after the hotel video came out, you posted on Instagram that domestic violence is the issue, right? Yes, I still feel that way. Sean Combs' lawyer just abruptly ended her cross-examination after showing an exchange of messages between Cassandra Ventura and Combs from 2012 by saying DX1015. Mr. Combs wrote, "Want to freak off one last time?" What did you write? "I don't want it to be the last time. I want to freak off for the first time for the rest of our lives." Combs' attorney says no further questions. Prosecutor Johnson picked up where the defense left off. She said, "Ms. Ventura, you were shown this message where you ended, 'I don't want to freak off for the last time. I want it to be the first time for the rest of our lives.' What did you say after that?" "Yes, I'm horny, just got over a UTI." "You were shown text messages today where you and Sean Combs were loving?" "Yes." "Did those periods ever last?" Defense says objection. Judge says overruled. "No, they didn't last. They had a downswing." "What world did Sean open you up to?" "A world of chaos." "In your 11-year relationship, who did you want to have sex with?" "Only him at that time." "When Sean wrote 'seduce me all day,' what did you do?" "Write about freak-offs." "Were you able to cancel work obligations for freak-offs?" "Yes, if I was told to." "When you were shooting the movie in South Africa and you blocked him, how did he get in contact with you?" "Through Mia," that's the employee. "He said he didn't remember hurting you. Did you believe him?" "Not always, because I knew him. There were times he was pretty aware of what he was doing. It's just who he was. I'd seen him be violent with other people." "On your way back from Cannes, what did Sean do?" "He played a video of me having sex with an escort." "And what did he say he'd do?" "He'd release it." "When you got to New York, what did Sean ask for? A freak off, or he'd release it?" "When Sean wrote, 'You ready for tonight?' what did he mean? A freak off? What were you afraid he would do if you didn't do the freak off?" "Objection," said defense. Judge says overruled. "I don't know, that week." "Next question," says the judge. "Do you have any doubt that Sean argued you?" "Objection," said defense. Overruled. "I have no doubt." "After Sean argued you on August 18th, did you later have consensual sex with Sean, during which your now husband FaceTimed you?" "Yes." "Why did you cancel your tour?" "After I filed my lawsuit, I was overwhelmed. Addressing the past, the way that I chose, I was overwhelmed. I didn't want to go." "Do you plan to file more lawsuits?" "No." "Would you give the $20 million back if you hadn't have had to do freak-offs?" Defense says objection. Judge says overruled. "I would give it back to get my agency back." "Did he beat you during freak-offs?" Cassie says yes and starts crying. "Were you open to freak-offs?" "At the beginning." "Did you tell him when you no longer wanted to do them?" "Yes, more than once." "What concerns did you have about saying no to freak-offs?" "Safety, career, love." No further questions. Judge says, "Mr. Stavo, you knew Mr. Combs' sexual preference was these freak-offs, right?" "I learned it was part of being his girlfriend." "Yeah." "You kept your old device?" "Yes." "And the freak-offs in this case, they were all on those devices you kept from 2012 and 2014? "I don't know what year." "You were able to stand at his side at the Met Gala. Being his girlfriend gave you access to producers, right?" "Yes." "Beyond Kid Cudi, what other musicians were you put in the studio with?" "Were you put in the studio with Nicki Minaj?" "Yes." "You were put in the studio with Lil Wayne?" "Yes." "And with Rick Ross and Pusha T, right?" "Am I forgetting any names?" You've got a lot of names. You were given opportunities in terms of your ability to access contacts in the entertainment industry. Yes, sometimes they were given, but they were earned as well. The defense asked Cassie about Sean Combs' tendency to be controlling, suggesting that she might not have received special treatment as a singer on his label, Bad Boy. Were you aware of him being controlling of his other artists on the label? I was aware. Defense attorney Estebo asked Cassie to confirm that Sean P. Diddy Combs let her out of her recording contract when their relationship ended. She said, I had to fight my way out of that contract, but acknowledged that eventually she was able to break ties with Bad Boy Records. You are self-conscious about your musical talent, right? I wouldn't say that. You had a bad performance on 106 in Park. Early in my career, you did music videos. Were they successful? May we go to a brief sidebar, says the judge. They go into a sidebar. D-Rock was like a member of your family. Yes, like a brother. The assistant Mia you had a friendship with? Yes. Okay, here you begin with an explicit message and he responds with one. You are actively sexting? Yes. You stated that you were feeling overwhelmed after filing the civil lawsuit, right? Yes. You recently received a settlement from the Intercontinental, right? No. You made a demand? Yes. $10 million, maybe. Judge says, anything further? Prosecutor Johnson says, I just have one question. Judge says, I was asking the defense, can you wrap up in 2 minutes? Defense says, this is the last thing I'll ask you to read, Ms. Ventura. Ms. Ventura said, thank you. We need closure and understanding. Prosecutor Johnson said, why'd you keep your devices? Ventura said, I was afraid of what was on them. I wouldn't take them to the Apple store. Prosecution says, do you have any financial stake in the outcome of this trial? She says, absolutely not. Defense says, one last question. You just reached a $10 million settlement with the Intercontinental last week before trial. Prosecution says, objection. Judge says, overruled. Cassie says yes. The testimony of Miss Cassandra Ventura is officially over. The judge lets her know to have a great weekend. She stood up. She walked out of the witness box with her hand on her pregnant belly. So needless to say, Cassandra still got her $30 million and 10 from the Intercontinental. So Cassandra Ventura has spent 4 intense days on the witness stand, detailing disturbing accounts of physical abuse, explicit sexual encounters, and reading dozens of private messages exchanged between both her and Sean Combs. Now, throughout her testimony, the themes of consent and coercion repeatedly surfaced, along with revelations about heavy drug use shared between her and Combs during their 11-year relationship. Now, during her final round of questioning this afternoon, Ventura briefly broke down when asked by prosecution about violent incidents that occurred during these freak-offs. Aside from the emotional moment, she delivered the rest of the testimony with composure and confidence. Now, she just released a statement through her attorney, Douglas Wigdor, and she said, this week has been extremely challenging, also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget. I want to thank my family and my advocates for their unwavering support and am grateful for the kindness and encouragement that I have received. I am glad to put this chapter of my life to rest as I turn to focus on the conclusion of my pregnancy. I ask for privacy for me and my growing family. So coming back from break, Agnifilo says, we object to the testimony of the witness after the special agent, Don Richard. Why is this coming up at 3:30, says the judge. Going forward, you just address things before the courtroom. The jury enters and prosecutor Smyson says, good afternoon. Where do you work? Letting you all know we have a new witness. Special Agent Yasin Benda says, HSI in the Human Trafficking Group. I'm in the Crisis Negotiation Group too. Did you serve subpoenas in this case? Yes. When Sean Combs was arrested, where did you go? The Park Hyatt, room 2115. Where he is staying? Photos of the entrances shown to the jury. What did you do? We assigned a letter to each room and began to search. What was your role? I took photographs of items, then assigned them on the 6051 form. Was this found in the closet? Photos are shown of plastic bags full of Johnson & Johnson baby oil and Astroglide bottles. And what was found in the bathroom? Several bottles of baby oil. They then show the picture. Now the bedroom, what was found in the LV bag? Medication in the name of Frank Black. And that is this, the agent says, bags of pink powder found in the medicine bottles. Stipulation shown agreeing it was found and tested by Customs and Border Patrol lab. Prosecution says, reading from the strip, the pink powder was found to be ketamine and MDMA in the bottle. So we find out that Diddy was bringing Pink Tucci in the hotel room while he was waiting for the feds to come and pick him up. Also, you may remember the Notorious B.I.G. used to refer to himself as Frank White. Now Diddy is referring to himself as Frank Black. Now the jury is also seeing photos of lighting devices that were found in the living room that are described as potentially mood lighting. So the jury is being passed around evidence and photos, and Smizer says, what was found in the black mini pack bag? She says $9,000. Please take the cash out of the bag. So the agent does, and she's fanning out the bills. No further questions, says Smizer. Judge says, any cross? Teeny Garrigo says, in the hotel room, did you see any bags and clothing indicating that a woman was staying with him? Benda says yes. The judge says the U.S. may call its next witness. Your Honor, the government calls Don Richard.
My name is Don Richard.
Where are you from? New Orleans, Louisiana. From 2004 to 2011, who did you work for? Puff, Sean Combs. Do you see him? Yes. Who is depicted in this photo? Cassie. In 2009, did you observe an incident between Puff and Cassie? She was attacked by Sean Combs and kicked. Did you see more violence by him against Cassie? Often. When were you members of this group? 2009 through 2011. The incident in 2009 when Sean Combs beat Cassie, where was it? In Sean Combs' LA home when we were recording. Now, if you recall, in Don Richard's lawsuit against Diddy, she spoke about instances when she was recording this dirty money in Diddy's home, and oftentimes she would see Diddy throw things at Cassie, yell obscenities at her, and just be violent towards her. Prosecution continues. What did he do? He was saying, where the F is my food? He grabbed a black skillet with eggs and tried to hit her over the head. Cassie dropped to the ground. What did she do? She went into the fetal position. Then what? Sean Combs was kicking her in the head and body, then dragged her up the first floor, glass breaking and yelling, I was scared for her and for me too. Did you intervene? No. Did you call the police? No. The next day, what happened? Sean said that it was passionate and she was okay, and that it would be better if we don't talk, that people could come up missing. How did you understand that? Death. Ignipolo said, objection. Judge says, sidebar. Judge says, jurors, you can leave for the weekend, watch the Yankees play the Mets or the Knicks. If you're not into sports, there's a lot going on. See you Monday. The jurors leave. Judge says, Miss Richard, you can leave. Well, that was a lot to take in for today. You know we'll be down in the comments talking about it. Tell me what you think about day 5 of the Diddy trial. Leave a comment, and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching, but before you go, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.